guys. There we go.
Yay. Well, guys, we're so excited for the call today. It's going to be such a fun one, and you guys will be so thrilled to hear that our special guest is Jeff Lipson today. We are going to get to know a bit of Jeff's story more. So, Jeff, first off, just thank you for being willing to pour into the team today. We just realized we've got so many incredible people on this team, and we're excited to start getting to know you guys more. So, Jeff, thanks for jumping on with us.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I'd call me a special guest considering I'm here every week, but
No,
I'm
you're special
certainly
today.
I'm certainly a guest.
No, you're special, and you are our, at least our special interviewee today. How about
Sounds good.
All
that?
No, I'm
right,
happy
Chris.
to be here and obviously um, appreciate the invite to share and love this team. So
Mm. Well, we love having you on this team, so this is going to be super fun. Um, Jennifer, is it possible to spotlight? If not, don't
I
worry about it.
well, did I get Jeff? I think did Jeff, but then
yeah,
when I go to get add spotlight. Okay.
there we go.
Thanks for adding. Okay, there we go. Is that okay? How's that?
Perfect. Thank you for
Okay.
doing that.
Yay. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, you obviously all know Jeff. If you've been on any team call or you've been in Slack, this guy shows up. He's everywhere. And, something that really stood out to us, Jeff, and kind of led to us being like, let's have Jeff on the call, has just been your excitement lately. It's so tangible how excited you are and plugged into the business right now. And it's just showing in the results that you're getting as well. We see you on the leaderboard with your production. We see you building an incredible team with some special people that are on this call today. And so we just wanted to get to hear more about you, Jeff, what got you here, some maybe lessons learned, and then just what you're excited about moving forward. So that'll be kind of the focus of today's call. So why don't we start, Jeff? Kind of remind me when you started here. I know it's been about a year, right?
Yeah, I think so today's October 20th. I was just
Mm-hmm.
looking back after you guys asked me to come and speak. I literally went digging through my text messages to find the text that came from Tim Romero about scheduling my first round interview, and I believe it was October 24th
Oh
or the
my gosh.
26th. So we're basically almost exactly 365 days out from that moment in time, which is really cool.
That is wild. And then what were you doing before this and what caught your eye about symmetry?
Yeah. So it's so interesting how everyone has their own path here, and there are so many. It's such a diverse group of people in terms of background and where people have come from. Um, so for me, I spent the previous 10 plus years of my career working in management and technology consulting. Um, so was a W-2 employee for pretty much my entire career. Made a good living. Um, Definitely started chasing more of the entrepreneurial side of things, even in the consulting business, building firms and everything like that. So had some equity opportunities, places, but still was a W-2 employee ultimately.
Hmm.
Um, and so they're like I was able to get to a point from a W-2 employee standpoint where my in my last job I was making $239,000 a year in a base salary
Dang.
until I wasn't. Um, and so for me, um, the story really is I think, and there's a lot of a lot of self reflection here and everything too, but um, I I joined the last company that I joined prior to coming here again with the intention of I want to go build a firm, I want to go do all those things, and was able to negotiate a good position and a good salary and all of those things with someone. And only after the fact, and really I would say only over the last maybe couple of months did I realize, the only reason why that person wanted to pay me to do whatever it was what I was doing is because he wanted me to take the responsibility and for what was going to happen, right? Um, and I also I also in those roles, was able to not have to work that, not have to push myself that hard,
Hmm.
um, to be able to achieve whatever it was I was able to achieve at that point in my life. But I found myself um, without work, let go, in the summer of 2024,
Hmm.
3 months before my baby boy, or sorry, less, 1 month before my baby boy was supposed to be born, with debt that I had, had. I don't come from money, and I had racked up debt. I had a wedding. There was a lot of things. Um, so we had debt, living in South Florida. It's a high cost of living. And I was able to support our family and the overhead that we had with the jobs that I was working. But then when I had no jobs, and no money coming in, that changed very, very quickly. And our family's outlook changed very, very quickly.
Hmm.
And for a period of time, I was trying to just simply find another W-2 job.
Yeah.
And um, it just wasn't, it just wasn't working. And I decided, okay, you know what? It's time to, I need to take control. Like I'm sick and tired of allowing someone else to dictate when I'm allowed to make an income and when I am not allowed to make an income. I'm sick and tired of someone else being able to dictate whether or not they think I'm worthy or qualified to do any of the things that I need to do to support my family. To have to sit because a recruiter decided to not get back to an email, or because a company decided to shift their budget in the middle of my interview process, right? All of these like I was just sick of it.
Hmm.
And I said it's time to try to take back control. And so I did a lot of thinking and came to the realization that I need to go do something out on my own. And I started looking at insurance. And one thing led to another. Symmetry popped in, and very quickly, fell in love with the the business model. Right? Here's a business in a box. Go do with it what you will. You will get out what you put in. Uh, you can't get fired. Like but you can fire yourself, and that's basically it. Um, and that meant a lot to me. And so, I mean, I needed to find a way to buy formula for my baby and to keep the roof over our heads and try to support my wife, who was going through a very difficult time after giving birth to our son. And th- this just figured to be the most logical solution where I would be able to try to make a difference quickly.
Man, there's so much of that I didn't know.
I
So
didn't
first
either.
off, thanks for sharing that with us, Jeff. And thank you for choosing this path because our entire team is better for it. I mean that. Man, all of that is so true. You know, you get what you put in. I've fired myself a few times over the years. But man, I think when you say at the end, like, this was the only logical thing, like, that isn't even true because, obviously you had skill sets, Jeff, and had worked your way to a position where you could have gone and done the job thing again. I mean, you could have, but you're meant for more. I love what you said about your employer putting you in that position because they knew you could handle it. And like you handle being in this position so well. So, man, I'm just glad Jeff is here. Anybody else? Oh, man. So, okay, so you find symmetry, Jeff, and you meet Tim Romero. All is
Yeah.
great. Okay, you get in here. You're like, I'm gonna run this thing up. I know you started building really early.
Mm.
So talk to us about what your mindset was at that point in time when you were just starting here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew from the outset the whole reason why I was looking at insurance was because I wanted to build an agency.
Hmm.
Um, and I knew that I would, obviously, of course, I'd have to produce, and if I want to make money quickly, right, I would need to do that. But my goal was to build an agency from the outset.
Hmm.
Um, so I did that, right? I from let's just say to talk about the two things separately. I mean, from a production perspective, I was like, okay, they say they have a system. They say to go do this, so I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna make this work because I have no other choice, and my back is up against the wall. And if I don't do this, then my family doesn't eat. So let's figure it out. And so I did that. And in my first full month, I was able to, I think my first full month of being here was December, and I was able to produce somewhere around $10,000 in commissions. Just,
Amazing.
just no experience in insurance, just literally following Tim and Jennifer's lead and doing what they were telling me to do and just trying to go out and do it. Now, on the building side, I also tried to do that right away. Didn't have a ton, like put in the effort, didn't have necessarily a ton of success. Um, you know, and I think that, when I came in here, I was like, this is going to be easy.
I said that too.
This is going to be easy. Like, I come from
Humble
corporate
pie.
America. I have dealt with very complex problems. This is going to be easy. And not only was I wrong, but I only now do I view it as this. But the greatest gift that this business can give you that no one talks about is the mirror that it firmly plants in front of you. And I needed that. Didn't know that I needed that, but I needed that.
Mm,
And I needed that because the person that I was that got me here, that wanted to build an agency, was not going to be the person that was going to actually allow me to produce and build an agency here. Um, a lot of patterns in my life professionally, and trying to, I mean, frankly, just trying to find the easiest path to the highest amount of income.
yep.
Never just putting my head down and saying in years past, I'm going to achieve it because I'm going to work harder than everyone else. Like that was never my mindset. And for some reason, I was okay with that.
Mm.
And then I got exposed here because of that mirror that was firmly planted in front of myself. Um, and and I started to realize that I had a I had a discipline problem and a work ethic problem. And only after some time, I realized every promise that I was breaking to myself was just simply a month added to a dream deferred.
Mm.
And so, all of that to say, on the building side, I don't think it's a coincidence that all of the effort that I put into building in my first 6 months didn't amount to much. And the effort that I've put into building in the last 4 months has amounted to so many of the amazing people that are on this call after a lot of learning, and growing in weird, uncomfortable directions, um, personally and professionally. So,
Man, this is so real, Jeff. Like, so real. So, thank you for taking the conversation here. There's so many things that I could circle back on. And I want to come back to kind of like where you had that pivotal moment of like, you know, Jeff before conference, maybe, and then Jeff after conference, because I feel like that was huge for you. Yeah, man, the vulnerability that you're giving us is just so special. So, thank you. I heard something on a podcast recently. It's actually in that Jake Van Dusen one I referred
mm,
to last week, Jeff, but it reminded me of something you just said. And Jake Van Dusen was just basically like, this business is a shortcut to making incredible income. Like it
mm,
just is. It's like what we do is not that hard for the
right.
income that we can generate. So you can't shortcut a business that's already a shortcut. And
Yep.
I was like, that is literally what I tried to do for so long. And I think that's kind of what you were just saying too. It's like you think that these natural skills and talents that you come into the business with, like there's so many people on this call that have a history of winning in whatever field they're in.
Mm,
and just in life. And then you come here thinking that if you just sit in that long enough, it's going to click and you're going to be an agency owner and it's going to be like, I'm rich and this is so easy. But as someone who hit agency owner and still hadn't worked through so many things till this year, of being a year of agency owner, like I just relate to that feeling so much. Like
Mm.
you can get to points in this business, but
In
until you do
spite of
the
your
work
flaws.
to catch up with it, it's going to be so painful. Oh, man.
Yeah, you can succeed depending on how good you are and some of your natural born skills, like you can do a lot in this business in spite of your flaws, but there will be a time where you are gonna get exposed.
Yeah,
Like
it's inevitable.
period. And then you just need to decide like whether or not you've gotten to the point mentally where you are excited about the exposure or or if you are too uncomfortable with how it makes you feel where you quit. And there is like something that I've come to realize is like there is a fine line that separates self-acceptance and self-sabotage.
Mm.
And you need to figure out how to have self-love and realize that self-love just means that you love yourself for who you are, you love the person that you have been, but that doesn't mean that you have to be exactly that person for the rest of your life. You can love who
Mm.
you were and who you want to become. But if you just stick with I love who I've been, then you're gonna set yourself back forever.
Man, so true. So good. So let's talk about that, Jeff, because I feel like there was a really just pivotal point for you this year that, I think we could all see from afar. But like, can you give us kind of the insider view of where Jeff was kind of going into conference and then the Jeff we're seeing right now?
Yeah. Well, you know, eh, unfortunately, I think what happens for most people is you have to hit some semblance of rock bottom to finally face, um, you know, the facts about things. You can't hide anymore when you're completely stripped down to basically nothing. And there came a point for me that was prior to conference where um, I'd run out of runway. And to back to the point of you can achieve a lot here in spite of your flaws, but then eventually you get exposed. Well, that's what happened. I achieved a good amount, let's say, in my first 6 months, in spite of my flaws, and then it caught up to me, and then I ran out of runway, and those things around discipline and follow up and work ethic and really getting getting the dials in and working the leads um to to the end, right? And getting resolution and structure and schedule and all of the things came back to bite me. And so when you're sitting with your wife and having to look her in the eyes and tell her I we can't pay for rent, we can't pay for the car bill, um, because I'm too flawed. That you know that makes you have to realize something, right? Or change. And I got away with too much over the last 10 years of my career uh, because I was able to succeed in spite of a lot of those flaws. And what Jacob talked about in the Friday call, I mean, just like needing to just stick around, needing to just give yourself time to figure it out, um, stick it out till you figure it out, right? And that's what I tried to do, find solutions and make changes. And then I knew that I wanted to go to conference because and my wife looked at me not because she's doesn't believe in me or support what I do in this business or anything like that. But she looked at me at the time and was like, "Why are you going if you haven't, really like done anything from a production perspective in a couple of months?" And I told her it's because just because that hasn't happened doesn't mean that I've given up on what I want to ultimately accomplish here.
Mm.
And I said, I need to go for me. I need to go for me.
Mm.
And so I went, and it played a big part in me just realizing what it was I've been trying to do here from the very start, and reinvigorated an energy in me to continue to figure it out. And so I did. And I had been making a lot of conscious changes, to and for myself in the months leading up to conference. And serendipitously, that was I guess a culminating moment of sorts.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how it laid out, and then what I've been trying to do since conference, basically.
Man, what I'm hearing you say, Jeff, too, is like you've just been in this process of refining over the last year, and it's so uncomfortable and so worth it. And I just can't even imagine, like, had you not been in the room at conference, like, would we be having this conversation right now?
Yeah, those odds would be way lower.
Yeah. I
Those odds
mean,
would be way lower
yeah,
for sure.
man. And I'm guessing, like, that's why you're so passionate about getting your people to Ignite, which how
Yeah.
many do you have registered already? Because I know it's quite a few.
Yeah, I want to say it's at least 8 or maybe 9.
It's incredible.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because you chose to get in the room, you can speak to the power of that and get your people in the room. And I'm just imagining like what those 8 stories and growing are going to be coming out of the room in Dallas. Like gives me chills. So
Yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah, let alone just like the tactical things, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
um, I there are also very tactical things that I took out of conference that have allowed me to do
Yep.
certain things over the last, 3 months or whatever it's been, in addition to it being, like a match, being able to get lit, and put a fire under my ass to a degree. So,
Yeah. I love
yeah,
it.
I remember Jeff, like I we sat next to each other at that women's event, like the
yeah,
very first day of conference. And I remember like kind of we talked and like shared some of, what you were kind of going through, and like it wasn't like a it wasn't like that conversation was this like life-changing thing for me, but like I remember looking at you, dude, and being like there was a for lack of a better term, like there was a fire that like I could see, and it was like this kind of pissed off, like tired of being tired fire, but also like tired, like exhausted from the roller coaster. And
Mm.
you were like, time to get off the roller coaster, like time to lock in. And I remember like, and we just had that, it was like a pretty straightforward conversation. But I remember telling Kristen that night, I was like, dude, he's gonna light it up. Like, and I remember that. And it wasn't again like this crazy big conversation. It was just small, but it was
Mm.
impactful. And I think one of the things you said, Jeff, like getting to conferences, like getting to Ignite for yourself, I think really often like we hear borrow belief, borrow belief, borrow belief. That is great. Like if you are in your first, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 months, but like at some point, everyone, like your belief has to be your own. Like you have to own it,
mm,
because Jeff, yes, he's bringing people to conference, but he's not going to be the one getting people to key leader, team leader. Like you have to own that for yourself. Like you have to own what Symmetry has available for yourself, like for your family. And so I think, yeah, hearing that from you, Jeff, like you got to go for you, and you got to start making decisions for you, and let that belief from us, like let other stories, the story of today that you're sharing, Jeff, like this is totally, like you said, lighting a fire under my ass, like, which is what I need. But at the end of the day, it's Kyle that's going to be doing the work. It's Kristen that's going to be doing the work. it's Anna that's going to be doing the work. So just wanted
Mhm.
to say that, man, like that's a really big point, a really big note, um,
Good.
to own that part.
Danny always says, lessons learned, changes made. And I feel like you've really embodied that recently, Jeff. So I'd love to talk a little bit about the changes you have made. Like
Hmm.
we can get a little tactical because I
Yeah.
know you're incredible at all the things you do. So wherever you want to take that, we'll go.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start by saying that everything that you do here just needs to be with intention.
Mm.
Everything needs to be intentional. Showing up to these meetings intentional, like
Yes.
knowing what you want to do here, what you're trying to get out of it, like showing up to your week intentionally, knowing what you want to accomplish in a week or a month's basis, like intentional. Um, and so for me, um, I mean, let's just say on the like on the product, well, on both sides. So for me, one thing was production and building. I think the realization that I had, when we talk about like if you produce, you're not necessarily going to like the building won't necessarily work itself out, but if you build, the production tends to sort of fall into place. And I didn't really understand what that meant until recently, where I realized it's because if I want to build, then I better lead from the front from a production perspective, to show people what's possible, to put more money into my bank account. Like, if you want to build, you just need to produce. Um, One of the things that I hated about corporate America is that so many people get leadership positions that have absolutely no idea what the people that they are managing do.
Mm,
And so what is leadership? um, I think real leadership is the people who understand exactly what the people who they are helping manage and lead do. Um, and they're simply motivating a group of human beings to be able to accomplish what they can accomplish. And I'm like, oh well, if I want to do that, then I better keep producing. And then how do you produce at a high level? So I mean, I think a lot of what I didn't do before was I said that I had a schedule, but I didn't follow it well enough. Um, I put together a script, but probably strayed too far from symmetry system.
mm,
Not even intentionally necessarily, but just again like the hubris, like the to think that I was gonna come here and do something better, like this was gonna be easy. And it's only when you just surrender to the system that you will see the results if you stay committed to surrendering to the system here. Um, so recently, so I made the switch to digital leads, um, over the last like month and a half to 2 months. And I was like, I'm making this switch and I'm going to follow the system to a T.
yep.
Um, it is perfectly laid out. Um, how many times to dial, then a text, which days to dial and not dial, like just exactly how the system works. Here are the different scripts. Here's how to run the appointments. I'm like, I'm going to trans manually transcribe Scott Schnitzer's appointment, and I'm going to write it and literally write it down, and I'm just going to run that because you know it it works. So why wouldn't I do it, right? Um, the script, like let's get a little closer to Symmetry's system here. Being in the Mac room, hearing other people, obviously that helps a lot as well. And then so that in combination with making the decision that like Lipson Life Group is going to be a digital mortgage protection shop, like we are all going to focus on that together, and hopefully that is going to rally energy and learning and synergies between all of us focusing on the same thing. And so number one, getting the scripts down pat and saying this is what we do, and for everyone who's coming in, including myself, go do this. This is the script. Go do this. This is the system. Go do this. Schedule. Um, actually, and I know I already said this to myself, or I said this earlier, but every promise broken to yourself is simply a month added to a dream deferred. I'm like, I can't do that anymore. And every time that if you set a schedule, great. It's about following the schedule, not creating the schedule.
Yep.
Okay. You can have the prettiest rainbow colored calendar in all of symmetry, but if you don't do the things that you say you're going to do on that calendar, you are just sabotaging yourself. You
Yep.
are you're quietly breaking a promise to yourself every single day, and that erodes self-belief. It erodes self-trust. It
Mhm.
erodes everything about yourself. And so I was like, okay, I need to create something. I need to make sure it's doable, and then I need to actually do it, while being obviously like infinitely flexible, because that's what this business also requires. And so I did that, and I talked to and bent the ears of people like Daniel Cucciara and Jennifer and other people and Gabs to make sure that I'm like thinking about this the right way. Leaned on others and have been following that to a T. And now I don't think about, did I make enough dials? Did I not make enough dials? Am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? I just am going to surrender to the system. They tell me this works. I see it. I see it working for other people. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Um, and that's literally all I've been doing, right? There's only two levers that you can pull in this business. I believe it was, I first heard this from Jen, like early on when I was here. There's only two levers that you can pull in this business, and it's time and it's resources.
Yep.
And you have to know that if you're not going to invest highly in one of them, that you must invest highly in the other. And if you invest highly in both, you are likely to be the person who takes off the fastest. Um,
Good word.
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to invest highly in both, and then actually do that, and not just say that I'm going to do that or put my money there, but then not, follow. Right. So um, those have been, I think, the biggest changes for me.
Hmm.
Just like really, really surrendering to that system and following it. Um, and so much so that like, I can talk and whatever, but when I get on the phone, like I read my script.
Yeah.
It's in front of me and I read it with my eyes and then I say it. So like for those who think like I'm just going to read the script a few times, get the gist of it, and then get on the phone and freewheel it, like don't, just please don't. Please don't. The script is good.
No,
Like
this
whatever
like
your
needs to be said though. Like I love that it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Like stick
so
to the
not a joke.
script.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like no, I mean this like without any, it's not like a hubris thing. But like so far in the month am leading in production. If I'm reading the script, everyone should read the script. like
I
like
too am
reading
reading
it.
the script and I'm right behind
Yeah,
you, Jeff. I'm gonna get you.
exactly. Exactly. Um, and so like I just like implore everyone, like your uplines,
Yeah.
your mentors, like they have scripts that are going to work for you with what they have helped custom build for you to help you succeed here. Read the script. Get good at not sounding like you're reading the script, but read the script.
Yeah.
It will help you tremendously.
Yeah.
I mean, I even read the script in my appointment.
Same.
Like I'm not freewheeling it, Like I'm not only following the system in terms of when to dial and when to call, I'm following the system in terms of like word for word.
So
And
good.
that's the biggest lesson, I think. And just and then the other thing I think is just being very, very deliberate about scaling into, yeah, read the script, Dave. So like scaling into investment and continuing to scale it up. Like people are like, okay, I want to make $10,000 a month here. Great. Okay. How much can you invest? Well, I can invest $200 a week. Okay. We can work with that. Just know that those two numbers don't compute.
Mhm.
You are not going to spend $200 a week here and make $10,000 a month. That's just not how the business works. And I mean, I'm not afraid to say that or to my people. Like it is a math equation. There literally, you go onto HQ and go read the ROI on the lead fact sheets. It will show you what the expected ROI is based off of how much you invest. So let's start at 200. Let's get you profitable. Let's reinvest money back in. And it's about how do you get from 200 to 400 and 400 to 600 and 600 to 1,000 and 1,000 to 2,000, if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
Right. Um, and so I think just being very like intentional about that to myself and to my team is also something that I've been thinking a lot about.
Huge. It's huge. And it's like, guys, we know all this stuff because we hear it all the time. But thank goodness for redundancy because these are the things that are important. And it might be until your 25th time of hearing it that something clicks. And then that is the thing that transforms your business forever. Like the amount of times Kyle and I have had to hear the same thing before it clicks. So thank you for repeating it, Jeff, because it's important. And thank you for pointing back to the symmetry system because that's it. That's literally it. And it's like if you try and innovate before you have this consistent business, you will fall down and
Mm.
then you will have to get back on the system. And when your business is plateauing, it's probably because we're innovating before we've really gotten the system. So thank you for honing in on that because it's really important. And
Mhm.
how does it feel to be the top of the leaderboard after taking a hiatus from producing for a while?
Um, I mean, I honestly like, I have to give a lot of like appreciation and credit to my team that shows up so much for themselves, for us, and for me and everything. I think that like I'm personally very motivated, obviously, yes, to like pay my bills and do all that kind of stuff, but I'm so motivated to just show what can be possible here if you put your head down.
Hmm.
Because I've said this on maybe on other calls or private conversations, I can't really remember, but like watching one of my agents write $1,000 policy feels so much better than me writing a $5,000 policy.
It's so true.
I don't know how else to explain that. Um, and so like I just want to try to instill as much belief into my team as possible, and that drives so much of my energy around production. And it has also been very inspiring to just see that like if like I did it, I've now done it twice basically where I've never like prior to coming here never had experience in insurance, and produced a good amount in my first full month, um, and then I had to take a break from production, and in my new first full month of producing I've been able to do that again. Like if that's not
Mm.
proof that this system works, then I don't know, what is.
So true. And I think there's something to be said there too, Jeff, of like you're not overthinking it in that. And I had a similar experience when I was really new. I'm like, I look back at some of the numbers and I'm like, how did we do that? But it's because you're just doing what you know you need to do and what your upline says to go do, and you're not overcomplicating it, overthinking it, and distracting yourself with the things that are unimportant. You're just doing the simple system. You're setting appointments and sitting them, which is
Yes.
more important, and you're just doing more of it. And obviously you do that really well on top of that, which helps. But it's true. It's just keeping it simple, don't you think?
It's keeping it simple. And Jordan said this to me in like my second month probably, and he was like, keep this beginner's mindset.
Mm,
Keep a beginner's mindset. It doesn't matter if you're like 2 months in or if you're 10 years in.
it's good.
There's something about how our brain works. When you go to do something for the first time, you're like, I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to go do the thing. Before you start getting in your own head about, oh, well, I've been really good at this and not so good at this, and I'm going to make these changes here. And,
Mhm.
you start getting in your own head. Like, just keep a beginner's mindset all the time. And it's hard, but I think just like grounding yourself to that on a regular basis. Like when you're a beginner, you want information, you want to learn, you want to, you just want to go and do the thing and pick things up on the fly. And like that's the mindset we need to try to keep 100% of the time, even after we've got a lot of experience under our belt.
Mm.
So good. I think that's like the perfect place to end on with that. I do want to ask you, Jeff, like where is Lipson Life Group going? Like I want to know what your vision is for this thing.
Um, yeah, I mean, my vision is that this team has multiple 130s underneath, Lips and Life Group. And I firmly believe I'm looking at people that are on this call as I scroll through: Andrew, Allison, Rashad, Dave, Susan, Alona, Michaela. Who else is here? Doretha, Tammy, Lanny, Manny, Jacob. I literally believe that every one of those people is capable of reaching the top of this company. And so my vision is to do everything in my power to unlock the greatness inside of each one of those people, and and produce my way to show what's possible, and to continue to provide that runway in front of me so that I don't run out of time in being able to help unlock those things for those people.
Mm, that is beautiful. What you just said, Jeff, about unlocking your team's potential, like that is leadership. And that's why you are such an incredible leader here. So, man, I love that we got to end on that. I can't wait to watch all of that unfold in the very near future. You guys are about to go boom. So I'm glad we got to have this call before you're, a big ol' AO here soon.
I appreciate that, guys. A lot of work in front of
Oh,
us, a lot of personal development that still needs to go, and I just appreciate you both so much for being people that I've been able to lean on, and Jen and Tim and just everybody. Like, I love showing up every day to work with with everyone that is literally on this call. It is people that I get to choose to work with, and it's just a beautiful thing. So I appreciate it.
mm, it is. Well, thank you for being on, Jeff. If you guys were taking notes, I was taking notes. So, Jeff, you dropped so much gold in this hour, and we'll have to do this again. But thank you for being on. And everybody, I hope you have such an awesome week. I'm not sure if Jennifer wants to add anything real quick before we let you guys go.
I am good. Jeff, I am proud of you. Just proud of you. Well done. Can't wait to watch it. So a great interview, Kristen and Kyle. Thank you so much. So wonderful.
Yeah.
You
So
guys
fun, you
have a great week.
guys. Have an awesome week. We'll see you in the
Thank you, guys.
workroom. Bye, guys.